Hello, we've just bought this 2016 Peugeot Boxer Auto Sleeper Nuevo. We've been out for a couple of days and it's all been good except for one thing that really pissed me off. Literally, the toilet wouldn't flush. So we've done a bit of research. I just want to show you how to fix it and more importantly how to try and avoid the problem in the future. The toilet itself is a Thetford C200 CWE model. And this problem is much more likely to occur if the vehicle's been standing over winter. The symptoms are, you come along, go to press the button, nada, not a thing. So the first thing to do is check if the fuse has gone or not. In this case, you can press the button, lights don't dim, the water pump when it's running doesn't slow down or anything. This fuse is pretty tucked away. There's the waste tank, and just down in here you can see it's a purple 3-amp fuse. It's hard to get to with your fingers, but it is possible if you haven't got massive hands. It's much easier if you've got a pair of pointy nose pliers like this. Gently pull out the fuse, have a look at it, and that's good. Might be the problem. The fuse looks like it's blown. I can see the wires broken. I've got another one here. So we're just going to put that back in its place. This goes in much easier with the pliers here because you're not so likely to drop the fuse down the bottom there. Okay, that's back in, that's good. Now unfortunately my optimism has been subdued here because I press it again, second time, again, nothing. So something else has caused the fuse to blow. With a bit of research on the internet, I soon found out that the pumps on these toilets block up quite frequently. The way to get into them is through this panel on the top of the cistern here, but if you go taking this cover off right now, you'll find out that the cistern is most probably full of water, and if you use pink or anything you can't see what you're doing. So the best thing is go outside to the back of the cistern, and just above the waste tank here you can see where the fuse is, just there. Above that there's this little knob just there, and if you pull that out with a pair of pliers, that'll drain down the cistern. But don't do it straight away. It's much easier if you take out your waste container and then get a bucket ready to catch up to 17 litres of the fresh water out the cistern. Now it's also important to remember that come the end of the season, or if you're not going to use your van for a long time, it's really important to use this drain down facility here, because this then will help to stop your pump in the cistern corroding up or getting blocked. Once we're back in the van, we can now attempt to remove this cover off the top here. You have to be very careful here because I can see other people have broken these covers. I've got this tiny bladed screwdriver. I'm just going to work up. Mine's a bit loose at the bottom here, and that's the best place to start from. You've got to be really careful about how much pressure you put here, because they seem to use something that looks like blue tack or chewing gum or something to seal this down. So you have to gradually break that seal and work it around without cracking the plastic. And you also see, once you get it off, even this has been off once today and it's all stuck again because it needs to be waterproof, I suppose. Underneath here you can see these are the two fixing points that these lugs go into. Next you need a small Phillips head screwdriver. You've got these 4 screws here, 1, 2, 3, and now it's quite foreseeable that when you're taking these screws out you could drop one, and if you do it's going to go right down the cistern there and you'll never get it out. That'll ruin your afternoon, so be extra careful about dropping them in. I'm just putting my screws in the sink to the right with the plug hole plug in it. You don't need to undo these 2 screws that hold those lugs on. Once you've taken the screws out, hopefully I can get it apart. There, it comes out like that, and then just down here you'll see where the pump is. Now if you still had water in here, it'd be starting to get really messy now, but what you need to do is pull this pipe out just down here. It's got one clip in here, one clip about 6 inches further down. You can pull them off because you know what you're doing, you can see what you're doing. It's a lot easier without the water in there. That's one lug out, you can see down there. Just pull the other one out, and then it's like surgery. then we just pull this up here. It's harder with one hand, trying to hold the camera really. And that's where your impeller is, just in the bottom there. Got this little fine Phillips screwdriver here. I've just used that to try and move the impeller wheel round. It's really stiff to start with, but there are a few holes in the outside of it, and you can just get the screwdriver in there, and then it eventually turns round, and then once you've freed it off, then it's then hopefully going to spin. Let's just test it. Press the button. Oh, hang on a minute, what's going on? Wrong button maybe? Yep, panic over. It's this blue button on top I need to ring, and you can see whee, the wheels go round. So hopefully we can now refill the cistern, make sure the bung's in the bottom of it, and we'll hopefully have a toilet that flushes again. Now I'm so tight-fisted, I've got my bucket of pink solution here ready to gently pour back into the cistern. Better than chucking it down the drain. I've now put the bit of plastic in here, and I'm going to put the all-important 4 screws back in place. I'm going to pop the plastic cover back on to the couple of lugs that are there. Luckily I've not managed to break that, and I haven't dropped any screws down the back either. And a bit of mastic that's in there should sort of hold it in place and keep it fairly waterproof in the future. And now the moment of truth. Let's press the blue button and see what happens. Oh, beautiful. So, as I'm new to motorhoming, really chuffed with myself on that little repair, and I hope those instructions help you too. Remember, carry some fuses with you, and make sure you drain down that water toilet cistern every time you don't use the van for a few months. Bye bye for now.